Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll begin in about 2 more minutes. Hello, I'm Jennifer Mossgrove, and I'm the Director of the Teaching Fellows Program and an Academy Instructor here at the Knowles Teacher Initiative. My co-presenter today is Angeline Logan, who is a Marketing Associate at Knowles. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation, which will include an overview of the Knowles Teacher Initiative and our Teaching Fellows Program. During the presentation today, we encourage you to use the Q&A box on your screen to ask any questions that you might have. Angeline will relay those questions to me throughout the presentation. She'll be sorting through them to make sure that we get to all of your questions. If she has time, she'll also answer some of those questions and through typed responses, and you'll be able to see those as the presentation goes on. The Knowles Teacher Initiative was established by Janet H. and C. Harry Knowles in 1999 to increase the number of high-quality high school science and mathematics teachers and ultimately improve math and science education in the United States. At Knowles, we believe that teachers can and should be the primary agents of educational improvement. This belief is woven throughout all aspects of the Foundation's programming, including our Teaching Fellows program, which we'll discuss in detail today. Let's begin with an overview of the program. While new teachers are going through a certification or licensure program, they are often surrounded by a cohort of other new teachers and have dedicated mentors that are with them in their classrooms almost all of the time. In addition, because they are usually connected to college campuses, they often have access to many resources, including journals, experts, classroom materials, and other classrooms. The first few years of teaching then can often be jarring for new teachers. Often they have a sense of isolation as they navigate their new school environment. Mentoring programs in some cases aren't as supportive or as comprehensive as they need to be. And schools aren't always able to provide the intellectual resources through professional development or the physical classroom materials that new teachers need to be able to enact the vision of teaching in their classroom that they want. While they are attempting to learn a challenging new profession, they find themselves often under-resourced. The Knowles Teaching Fellowship was designed specifically to address some of the challenges faced by new high school math and science teachers to help them thrive as new teachers and become teacher leaders who are able to support other teachers and improve math and science education for all students. The Knowles Teaching Fellows program is an intensive and cohesive 5-year program that supports early career secondary mathematics and science teachers in their efforts to develop teaching expertise, and lead from the classroom. Each year, we award approximately 35 fellowships to new math and science teachers who have outstanding content knowledge in math or science, are committed to becoming great teachers, and possess potential to become the kinds of teacher leaders who make a difference in schools. In phase one, the first 3 years of the program, fellows reflect on and deepen their own understanding of mathematics and science. They develop the specialized forms of content knowledge that are needed for teaching, and they use that knowledge to create profound learning opportunities for their students. Fellows learn increasingly sophisticated ways of examining their classroom cultures and instruction by applying analytical lenses to data that will help them see and then increase the learning opportunities being offered to all of their students. While focusing on these areas, fellows are also supported in becoming a community of inquiry that engages with and as critical friends. This emphasis on inquiry with others serves as the foundation for teachers leading from the classroom. In phase two, the last 2 years of the program, the focus of inquiry shifts from a fellow's classroom to the professional community in which the fellow works. Fellows are supported in bringing in their school colleagues into this work by making themselves vulnerable and open to others' perspectives. Fellows grapple with their own professional goals and commitments and what it means for them to lead in their context. Additionally, they learn to understand their school and local community as a system, understand multiple leverage points for change, and experiment with ways to lead those communities toward better outcomes. In addition to the curriculum of the fellowship that I described, equally as important to the impact of our program is the use of cohorts to build connection and community. We built our fellowship program on a cohort model that allows fellows to connect with peers who are roughly at the same point in their teaching careers. And as our fellows finish the teaching program, they tell us that there has been no greater professional support than that which comes from the cohort of teachers who go through the fellowship with them. The groups that fellows form in their cohorts allow them to experience small inquiry-focused learning communities to see what they look and feel like, and allow them to experiment with various roles teachers might play in those communities. Fellows are supported to reimagine their working relationships in their own high schools. Teachers who wish to make a significant impact in their classrooms and schools must seek equitable outcomes for students because the U.S. educational system has traditionally marginalized some learners, leaving them without access to equitable instruction in high school math and science, resulting in fewer opportunities to engage as empowered citizens or to enter and thrive in mathematics and science fields. Improving education for all students in the United States requires teachers who are able to collectively work together with a wide range of colleagues and stakeholders in order to combat inequities and create more equitable spaces for all students to learn math and science. Ultimately, our goal is to support the development of teachers who recognize their role and their power in their school system and beyond, and feel empowered to impact that system in support of more equitable outcomes for students. As such, equity and inclusion are a key thread of the Knowles Teaching Fellowship. Over the course of the 5-year program, fellows investigate how their personal identity influences equitable instruction, how teachers influence equity within their classroom and school community, and how teachers can grow their circle of influence. Specifically, fellows engage in learning experiences that support their development across 3 levels of transformation with respect to equity and inclusion: personal, interpersonal, and systemic. The Knowles Summer Conference is the official start to the fellowship year. This 3-day meeting takes place in July, usually in Philadelphia. It is a distinctive event that brings together all members of the Knowles community, typically around over 250 participants, to interact with, learn from, and provide critical feedback to each other within a variety of settings and structures. All 5 cohorts of teaching fellows attend the meeting, along with senior fellows who are engaged in specific activities related to summer conference, as well as staff and other experts in math and science. The summer conference is divided between opportunities for fellows to work within cohorts and opportunities for them to engage with the wider community. In the mornings, teaching fellows begin the work of the year aligned with the specific phase of the fellowship they are in. In the afternoons, meeting participants attend their choice of learning sessions that have been proposed, reviewed, designed, and are led by fellows. These learning sessions may be structured as an interactive presentation, a workshop, or a collaborative learning group. Fellows who lead these sessions are provided with a coach, a Knowles Senior Fellow who has participated in our Coaching Institute and supports session leaders to establish learning goals and evaluate the effectiveness of their session. Fellows also choose a book to read together each summer and organize a variety of unconference style discussions about that book throughout the meeting. And last, fellows have opportunities to organize informal discussions over meals and during meeting breaks that allow them to find common ground, organize working groups, and discuss topics that interest them. For many fellows, like Sarah, a science teacher in Queens, New York, the Knowles Summer Conference is often the first time that they present at a professional conference. As such, it lays the groundwork for sharing the knowledge they generate with peers on the local, state, and national level. In addition to the Knowles Summer Conference, we bring all members of a cohort together twice a year to meet in person. It's a significant investment, but a crucial piece of our support of beginning teachers. Meeting in person serves several important purposes. First, our staff plan and implement professional development sessions for fellows that introduce fellows to important new ideas in the fields of math and science education and teacher leadership, support fellows in considering critically how those ideas make sense in their own local contexts, and equip fellows to plan for implementing changes to their practice as teachers and leaders. Second, while our fellows engage in robust work online, the intense time they spend with one another at meetings, at meals, and even socializing late into the night serve as crucial components of community building. Finally, while we strive to be careful stewards of Knowles resources, we also recognize that teachers deserve to be treated like professionals. To that end, we make sure that fellows are treated well. We eat good food together, and we make sure that our meeting sites are pleasant places to be and to work together. Olivia Bean, a chemistry teacher in Portland, Maine, shared this reflection about attending Knowles events. The biggest impact has been about always improving and changing. Every time I participate in a Knowles event, I end up with at least one new thing I want to incorporate into my practice. Before switching gears to talk about the benefits available to Knowles teaching fellows, I'd like to just briefly highlight our Senior Fellow program. After completing the 5th year of the fellowship, teaching fellows become Senior Fellows. Through the Senior Fellow program, former teaching fellows have the opportunity to remain involved in the Knowles community throughout their careers and be supported in ongoing leadership efforts. Knowles Senior Fellows continue to be supported as teacher leaders. We have programs that support them to lead professional development and coach other teachers. We have a Senior Fellow run journal that features teacher voices and gives them a platform to speak to other teachers and others within the educational system. Senior Fellows continue to innovate and design new innovative instructional approaches as instructional leaders. Once someone becomes a teaching fellow, our support, we hope, is career long. Next, I'll provide a brief overview of the fellowship benefits. Knowles teaching fellows receive a comprehensive array of benefits that are designed to support new teachers and emerging teacher leaders. These benefits include financial support, mentoring and coaching, and membership into a nationwide community of peers. The Knowles Teacher Initiative supports fellows financially by offering grants to cover expenses associated with purchasing classroom materials and engaging in professional development. Additionally, fellows are eligible to request funds to develop and execute leadership activities that have an impact beyond their own classroom. In addition to the grants, fellows are eligible to receive stipends. We recognize that our fellows are highly accomplished and have often made sacrifices, both in money spent on teacher preparation and opportunity costs incurred by choosing a lower paying profession. These stipends allow them to reduce debts they may have incurred and reduce the financial burden teachers often bear, both of which are factors that contribute to sustainability in the profession. Alternatively, stipends can be used to support fellows financially during the summer months, allowing them to concentrate on reflecting on the past year, preparing for the upcoming school year, and professional development, rather than taking on a part-time job during the summer, as many teachers need to do. Just want to note that the various grants and stipends are subject to our board approval on an annual basis. We value the expertise and knowledge of skillful teachers, which is why we support fellows with mentors and coaches. In fact, we recruit staff with significant teaching experience to support our fellows. Our experienced teaching fellow staff, with a combined over 100 years of teaching experience, view themselves first and foremost as teachers. Our staff regularly check in with fellows, support them to plan and reflect on instruction, talk them through challenging professional dilemmas, and support them through personal challenges. Staff observe fellows teach, either virtually or in person, and coach them into improvement in a way that fellows direct. In addition to staff, each team supports fellows with 2 or 3 veteran teachers, most of them with over 20 years of experience as both teachers and teacher leaders. These team specialists bring on-the-ground experience and credibility. They attend meetings, support fellows in their inquiry, and provide counsel as true master teachers. Knowles Fellows are able to tap into a support network of nearly 450 teachers who are committed to improving math and science education. From in-person conversations that take place at meetings to virtual conversations that take place on our online community, invaluable support is just mere moments away. Next, we'll discuss eligibility. Prospective applicants must meet the following eligibility requirements. The fellowship seeks to support individuals who intend to make teaching their primary career. In order to be eligible for the fellowship, applicants must have recent knowledge of the content they intend to teach. Specifically, applicants must have earned a related degree between 2013 and September 1st, 2023. Additionally, applicants must have earned a secondary certification somewhere between January 1st, 2018 and September 1st, 2023, with the goal of teaching full-time in a high school science or math classroom no later than the fall of 2023. Last, the fellowship is intended to support teachers who are in their first or second year teaching during their first year of the fellowship. For the purpose of eligibility, we consider an applicant's first year of teaching to be the first year in which they teach full-time for the full academic year as the teacher of record. We recognize that even with these specific criteria, it's certainly possible that you'll have specific questions about your situation. We want to make sure that you're able to confirm your eligibility before investing the time needed to apply for our fellowship. If you have any questions regarding eligibility, please send your inquiry to apply@knowlesteachers.org, and we'll be sure to reply quickly. Last, I'll highlight the application process. To be considered for a 2023 Knowles Teaching Fellowship, applicants must submit an application online, participate in an individual interview, and participate in group interviews. Following a review of the written applications, semifinalists will be identified. Applicants who are selected as semifinalists will receive an email in February inviting them to schedule a Zoom interview. The individual interview will last approximately 1 hour and is designed to help us learn more about applicants with respect to our 3 criteria. We may ask about experiences applicants wrote about in their essays or information contained in their transcripts or letters of recommendation. Following a review of the written applications, if an applicant is selected as a finalist, we will invite them to participate in group interviews, which will take place virtually on Saturday, April 29th, 2023. The group interviews will take place throughout the day, beginning at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and may go well into the evening. Participation in all of the activities is mandatory, and none of the activities can be rescheduled. An applicant should make sure they are available throughout the day on April 29th. If an applicant is selected as a finalist, but determines later that they cannot attend the group interviews, their application will be declined at that point. Each year, we evaluate fellowship applicants with regard to the following selection criteria. Successful fellowship applicants possess the potential to develop the content knowledge needed for teaching, exemplary teaching practices, and the qualities of a teacher leader. The first of our 3 criteria is the potential to develop the content knowledge needed for teaching. On our website, you can find a full description of this criteria. But in short, we're looking for people who have strong preparation in their content discipline, who also have the potential to develop the specialized content knowledge that teachers need to teach well. We do expect that fellows will have at least a bachelor's degree in a field connected to the subject they intend to teach. This does not necessarily mean that if an applicant intends to teach math, for example, they must have a degree in math. Some of our math fellows have degrees in engineering or other related fields. But it does mean that an applicant should have significant depth, breadth, and interconnectedness of knowledge from the coursework they have taken. In general, successful candidates have at least a 3.0 GPA in their college coursework and in their math or science coursework specifically. In addition to evaluating a candidate's coursework, we also look at an applicant's response to the essay that addresses the content knowledge needed for teaching, the letter of recommendation written to address the content knowledge needed for teaching, and any awards, honors, internships, or other distinctive content-related experiences that they have had. I do want to say an additional word about the letter of recommendation. You'll notice that I said the letter of recommendation written to address content knowledge. It's important to realize that the 3 letters of recommendation are all written to a different criteria. For content knowledge needed for teaching, we are seeking someone who can directly address a candidate's potential to develop the content knowledge needed for teaching, not just a general letter of recommendation. When you select recommenders in our online system, you will indicate which recommender you want to address content knowledge, and so it should be someone who can speak to your math or science background. The second criterion focuses on an applicant's potential to develop exemplary teaching practices. Again, you can find a full description of this criteria on our website. In short, we're seeking candidates who are deeply committed to teaching math or science at the high school level, who understand that teaching is a complex endeavor that requires a significant investment to continued growth, and who have a well-developed habit of reflection that allows them to learn from their experiences. They also critically examine their own practices with the goal of leveraging these strengths and promoting equitable learning opportunities for all students. When assessing an applicant's potential in this area, We will look at the associated essay as well as their resume or CV. Typically, the letter of recommendation for this criterion is written by someone who knows the candidate's potential as a teacher. The third selection criterion is the potential to develop the qualities of a teacher leader. The Knowles Teacher Initiative is committed to the belief that teachers can and should be change agents in education. Knowles seeks candidates who have developed their capacity for collaborative leadership in previous experiences and demonstrate the propensity to continue to develop as leaders in and from the classroom. We review the essay written for leadership, as well as review the CV or resume. Letters of recommendation for this criterion speak to a candidate's leadership potential and may not necessarily be someone who knows the candidate from an academic or teaching setting. So at this point, I'm going to open the floor for questions. Don't forget, you can use the Q&A box there. Let's see, so I'm going to look at the questions that have come in. So one question is around the licensure, having a 6 to 12 license, meaning you teach high school and middle. That certification is fine. To be eligible for the fellowship, folks need to be teaching at grades 9 through 12. Let me get back in here. So there was another question. What is a time commitment and money commitment for the program? The time commitment, in addition to attending the meetings that happen 3 times a year, and those are 3 days in the summer, 2 days in the fall, 2 days in the spring. We estimate that fellows spend approximately 4 to 6 hours a month engaging in some of the fellowship work, which is highly connected to their classroom. So it's usually looking at data from their classroom with some critical friends and trying to better understand what's happening in each other's classroom. There is no financial commitment. All of the travel expenses and such are paid for by Knowles. When is the deadline to apply? The applications will open in June and they will close in early January of 2023. If you are interested in applying now, the application is not quite open, but they're on our website. You can, there's a spot where you can say that you're interested in applying, but look back there in June and we'll be open. Question, what is the group interview process like? It's a full day event where within different content groups, you work in a variety of settings, discussing activities you might be doing in the classroom, talking about dilemmas that you might face in the school with colleagues, potentially with students. And it's just really working in a variety of groups and having those kinds of conversations. While it is part of our interview process, applicants also always say it is, they learn a lot just from participating in that part of the process as well, because you're working with beginning teachers from all across the country for the day. Oops, it just jumped. Where did it go? Just clarifying again to try to put some of these together. In order to be eligible, you do have to have a degree in a content in a field related to math or science in order to be eligible to apply. There's a question about, is there any benefit to applying early? Everything happens at the same time. So there's no benefits, there's no early decision or anything. It's once applications close in early January, that's when we begin to look at the applications. I do encourage you, however, to make sure that you're working on your application and you're aware of what the essays would be for you to write, making sure you have your references in there and giving your references plenty of time to write those and submit those. There's a question, are fellows put in touch with each other by geographic region or primarily by year in the program or content area? Yes to all of those. The fellows work in a cohort model, meaning the year that they enter the program. So for example, we're talking about applying for the 2023 cohort. So that is the cohort that primarily works together and they advance through the curriculum together throughout the 5 years. That said, even within that, there's lots of time where the content groups, those who are teaching physics work together. But then beyond that, there is something called special interest groups. So folks who live in a particular geographic area together can apply for a grant for us and we'll fund them to go do some professional learning together. It often involves maybe getting a book and doing dinner together once a month to discuss that. So there are connections across the cohorts that way. In addition to lots of folks might attend a national conference together. So math folks from different cohorts might attend NCTM together. So a couple more questions are coming in about the process more generally. And again, we're looking for folks who have the strongest potential to develop. And we do award around 35 per year. So it's not that it's not competitive in a way other than like, yes, we unfortunately, we can only award a certain number each year. Someone is asking, they have an MAT for secondary math. Does that work? Yes, that as long as you are coming, that would work for your certification. If you have we would still look to see if you have a content specific degree or coursework, the equivalent of close to a major in that field. And then an MAT would work for your assuming that's a certification program. Everyone would need to be certified no later than September 1st, 2023. Another question of have a degree that was about 10 years ago. Yes, that's about the range that, especially if we would look to see, were you doing content related work within those last couple of years, and now you've decided to be a teacher, that would make for a stronger application, but you would be eligible. Are there other questions coming in? There's a question, how many people typically apply each year? It varies. We average close to 200, more than that. I just want to also mention that we put the link, how to be notified when the application opens, in the chat. So if you Is there an application fee? No, there's no application fee for this at all. There's no financial responsibility for applying, or again, as a fellow, we cover all travel expenses. Give another minute for some questions. It looks like there are no additional questions. Angelina, if you want to go to our last slide then. If another question pops up, please go ahead and still just put it in that chat there in your Q&A. But then we just want to thank you for joining us today, and to learn more about the application process or to be notified when the application opens, you can visit our website. If you have any questions that were not addressed in this presentation or on our website, please contact us via email at apply@knowlesteachers.org. And again, thank you for your time and attention this evening, and have a great day.